morning, good 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 morning. Oh, she telling me what I read him there. Good morning, good morning, good morning, Grenada, Carriacou, PT, Martinique. Bless up your whole selves on this terrific Tuesday morning, July 20th, 2021. July flying, babe. Welcome to Good Morning, Grenada. Thank you for starting your morning off with us here at the GBN. Always appreciate your listenership, your viewership, your time. Thank you so very much. Whichever platform you're using this morning, the GBN Grenada Broadcasting Network's Facebook page, the Grenada Broadcasting Network's YouTube channel, the website www.gbn.gd, GBN TV channel 7, 11 and 20. Good morning to the listeners of Classic 105.5, 105.9, and all the folks joining us on Party Grenada and Go To Fet Facebook pages. It is an absolute pleasure being with you this morning. The viewers and listeners across the Caribbean, whichever part of the region you are, a spicy Grenadian 473 morning to each and every one of you. And those of you joining us internationally, good morning, good afternoon, good night. Hope you will have a good day, are having a good day, have had a good day. Let's not stick and get straight into this morning's word of the day. This morning's word of the day is perambulate. Perambulate. It's spelled P-E-R-A-M-B-U-L-A-T-E. Perambulate. It is a verb which means to walk or travel about or to stroll. Perambulate. To walk or travel about or stroll, it is an origin of a Scots word that meant to travel through land and inspect it for measuring or dividing or determining ownership, a process called perambulation. Perambulate comes from the Latin word which is a past participle of the word which means to walk through, walk about, walk around in, tour, or make the rounds. It is a compound of the preposition and prefix per, P-E-R, which is through, and the simple verb which means to walk, go about, travel, or march. Perambulate entered English in the mid-15th century. That's the word of the day this morning, perambulate. P-E-R-A-M-B-U-L-A-T-E. Perambulate. It is a verb which means to travel, to walk, or travel about, or to stroll. An example of the use of the word: he may sometimes perambulate strangely, but he still types perfectly fine, and he has agreed to write a book about his life. Another example of the use of the word: Mary and I liked to perambulate along the river in Florence or through the pedestrianized Roman thoroughfares. The word of the day this morning, perambulate. It's spelled P-E-R-A-M-B-U-L-A-T-E. Perambulate. It is a verb which means to walk or travel about or to stroll. Perambulate, like walking through town, sometimes aimlessly, sometimes on a mission, or just walking through your neighborhood. Perambulate. When you go for your morning walks, perambulate. Evening walks, perambulate. It is a verb which means to walk or travel about or to stroll. So anytime you're just chilling and you're taking your time and walking, perambulate. That's what the word of the day is. That's what it means. All right, let's see what the thought as you go about your terrific Tuesday. I'd get another adjective in T. Hold on, I'll think about it just now. Tremendously terrific. Never mind, I'll spice it up. Your tremendously terrific Tuesday. The thought of today is: a mistake that makes you humble is better than an achievement that makes you arrogant. A mistake that makes you humble is better than an achievement that makes you arrogant. I'm going to leave that one there. No explanation needed, but let me repeat it for the people in the back. A mistake that makes you humble is better than an achievement that makes you arrogant. Remember that thought today and for the rest of your life. Sometimes you learn more from a mistake than an achievement. All right, let us see what is celebrated today. Today, July 20th, 2021, it is Moon Day. Moon, that big juicy thing in the sky, in the night, sometimes during the day. Moon Day. when Neil Armstrong stepped down onto the moon's cratered surface with the words, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind," every nation on Earth seemed to breathe a collective sigh of relief. Moon Day celebrates not only the historic lunar landing on July 20th, 1969, but the day also reminds us of the uphill slog to get the space program literally off the ground. On Moon Day, we remember both the quirky and profound moments in the space race that ended with the Americans being the first to plant their flag on the moon. Today it is Moon Day. This marks the, that is 79, 89, 99, 2009, 2019, 52 years since the moon landing, July 20th, 1969, when Neil Armstrong became the first man to walk on the moon. And he was followed by Buzz Aldrin as the second man to walk on the moon. Today is the anniversary of that historic part of history, Moon Day. So not just celebrating the moon, but the actual landing on the moon. All right, let's get into this morning's Grenadian Olympian feature. Like I said yesterday, Grenada is fielding a 6-member team at the 2020 Olympics. And yesterday we featured the most decorated Olympian ever in Grenada's history, Kirani James, our gold and silver medalist. And this morning we are going to be featuring the youngest member of the team. She is national swimmer Kimberly Ince. And then we're going to get straight into the morning edition of news and repeat of last evening's newscast. It's Good Morning Grenada on this tremendously terrific Tuesday. Let's get into this morning's feature. Of 16, Kimberly Ince will make her Olympic debut at this year's Tokyo Games when she dives into the pool for the women's 100-meter backstroke. Kimberly has steadily become one of the top female swimmers in Grenada. Her dominance in the pool afforded her the opportunity to represent Grenada regionally at OECS, Carifta, and CCCAN competitions, where she obtained several medals at these top regional events. In 2019, Kimberly competed at the 18th FINA World Championships held in South Korea and obtained a personal best of 1 minute 9.85 seconds in the 100-meter backstroke. The year 2020 was extremely challenging for this teenage swimmer as a result of COVID-19. She was only afforded the opportunity to compete at one international meet, which was the Yuana Swimming Cup held in Peru. As a Form 5 student at St. Joseph's Convent St. George's, Kimberly is currently sitting her CSEC examinations, balancing the rigors of school and training in her final year of secondary school. Fulfilling one of her aspirations of becoming an Olympic swimmer for Grenada, Kimberly will compete in her favorite stroke, the 100-meter backstroke.
Follow the summer heat as our double Olympic 400-meter medalist, Kirani James, world javelin champion, Anderson Peters, our Melanie Rodney, Lyndon Victor, joined forces with swimmers, Kimberly Ince and Delron Felix in the pursuit of the ultimate dream, Olympic gold and glory. Follow every race, every throw, and splash in the pool, live on GBN television from Friday, July 23rd to Sunday, August 8th. It's the Summer Olympic Games in Tokyo. The dream continues.
Now, this weekend was marred with fatalities. The first reported was a chopping at Richmond Hill, St. George, that left one man dead and another hospitalized in critical condition. Chrislina John spoke to community members on Monday.
This will be recorded as Grenada's second homicide for 2021. Neighbors are still traumatized following last Saturday's shopping incident at Richmond Hill, St. George. Teron James, 37-year-old, remains warded at the General Hospital, but according to his brother, he is okay.
Yeah, no comment from looking at my brother there. He's all right. He's going through a lot of pain. But everything will work out good for him, and wish for the best. Okay. Going through, actually, he say they told him like he might be able to use one of his hand, but he say he moving the finger, so let's hope for the better.
According to a police report, officers responded to a report of a chopping around 10 a.m. Upon arrival, they encountered the accused inflicting several chop wounds on another man.
He's Teron James. He's 37 years of Monjaloo, and he was chopped in his hand, both hands and on his face. And the attacker, who was shot by the police, his name is Dave Griffith. He's 42 years. He's a warehouse attendant also of Monjaloo. The RGPF is saddened by these events. We have and will continue to reach out to both families.
The deceased, well known by villagers who say he is always around since the hospitalized man is the uncle of the children of the deceased. They never believed something like this would happen in their village. Neighbors recall the horrific incident.
My man coming up with the cutlass, he jumped wrong, and then he entered the shop, and then I hear him run bawling, and his only blade I see going on. And then after he come out of the shop and he lean back there, the police come, ask him to drop the weapon. He refused to drop the weapon, so the police didn't have no other choice to do his job.
But he convinced him. He came with one cutlass. So when he come out of the shop now and run bawling, I bawling too, because I looking for a lady, I can't run there. When he come out, I see him all in blood. So I say, well, yes, he chopped him up, and then I can't hear Ron's voice no more. So I brought in man around home to come and help him. And he charged the cutlass and he asked him, where you going? Well, the brother had was to run back down. He can't save the brother. Well, he go and everybody try calling the police and whatever.
An eyewitness, Erica Noel, says the police present, it appears, did not deter the man on the rampage.
Well, the police come, and when the police come, he stand up right here, where my son is there, with the cutlass, and when he see them coming now, and he tell them back off. So, all of us there here we thinking, and then the police now send out the warning shot even here, and then when they get a chance to go in the shop, and they just had to do what they had was to do.
It is still unclear what exactly led to the altercation between the two men. Grenada's first homicide was recorded on June 9, 2021, and resulted in Calvin Frank being charged for the murder of Lindy Skinner Moraine. Christelina John, GBN News.
A freak accident claimed the life of an elderly man in Lower St. John's, St. Andrew.
The search for Norbert Forrester ended when his lifeless body was discovered pinned under a tree. One neighbor recalls that it was Norbert's wife who called for his assistance to go look for her husband when she could no longer hear the sound of him cutting a tree in the portion of land not too far from their home. It was Kimon Flanders who stumbled upon what appears to be at the time Forrester's lifeless body.
In the veranda, and she called me. She said she hasn't seen her husband. That's his name, was Mr. Norbert Forrester. So she told me to come and help her search for him. When I go, the first time I didn't saw him. Then I came back, I asked a gentleman who was below down there, pulling vine, and he said he didn't see him. So I came back and I go, he had another piece of land lower down there. I go there to see if I saw him. I didn't see him. Then after I came back the second time, me and a lady, what was over there, we go down together, three of us, and I was in front, and I saw him falling like this on the ground with his foot under the tree.
Neighbors say Mr. Forrester was a pleasant individual. He came to Grenada a few weeks ago to conduct work on a house he has recently built and was due to travel later this week back to his country of residence. Unfortunately, he met his fate. Superintendent Vanny Cohen expressed condolences to the family of the the deceased man.
Mr. Joseph Norbert Forrester, 63-year-old of Lower St. John, was in the process of cutting down a tree when unfortunately that tree fell on him and he lost his life as a result of that tragic incident. No one has to die that way, but this is life, and we express our sympathy to his family. We are saddened by the fact that one of our senior citizens has lost his life in this way.
In January of this year, 52-year-old Vivian Felix of Belize and David lost his life in a similar manner while cutting a tree on his farm in Phillip, St. Andrew. Chrislina John, GBN News.
58 accidents last weekend alone. This, according to the head of the traffic department, leaves the RGPF in a state of worry.
Officer in charge of the traffic department, Randy Connaught, says this number far outweighs previous numbers in any given weekend. Sunday's accident brings the total number of road fatalities for 2021 to 4. This has claimed the life of a 44-year-old male and left one female warded with injuries. According to a police report, this incident occurred just about 12:50 a.m. on Sunday, 18th July, at Dunfermline, St. Andrew. The deceased male, who was reportedly the driver of the vehicle at the time of the accident, was taken to the Princess Alice Hospital, where he succumbed to his injuries. Addressing the media on Monday was Superintendent Randy Connaught.
For this week, that is yesterday, Sunday, just after midnight, we had a fatal accident at Paradise where a male individual lost his life. A female occupant of that vehicle was also injured as a result of the accident and is currently a patient at the hospital receiving medical care. Now, that accident is under investigation as we speak. Just this morning, the postmortem was done on the body of the deceased, and officers, as I indicated, are actively engaging all aspects of this particular road fatality.
Superintendent Connaught admonishes the general public of their responsibility when using the public roadways. 2 investigations are ongoing, while 2 are now in the hands of the Director of Public Prosecution.
This month, we reported on the state of accidents, fatal accidents under investigation. This brings our total now to 4 fatal accidents for 2021. Our first accident occurred on Maurice Bishop Highway on the 14th of February, where one Michael Williams lost his life, and the second on the 30th of April, where a pedestrian, Mr. Jerome Gilbert of Tempe, lost his life. I am happy to report to the media and to the public that those 2 investigations have been closed. Files were submitted to the Office of the DPP, and we have now since been directed to submit those files for a coroner's inquest.
Chrislina John, GBN News.
There was a spike in the number of motor vehicular accidents over the weekend, as you just heard, surpassing the average amount recorded on a weekly basis. According to the head of the traffic department, Superintendent Randy Connaught, they are sometimes left feeling stretched and overwhelmed, however, remain relentless in their duties. We get the latest in this report.
An appeal is being sent to the motoring public, especially those traveling at night, to practice due levels of caution and care when driving on the public roadway. The plea was made by head of the traffic department, Superintendent Randy Connaught, who is reporting 58 minor accidents over the weekend, more than double of what is recorded on average weekly. Superintendent Connaught also alludes to a serious accident in Granbar on Sunday. Upon witnessing the aftermath, he said it was a clear indication that speeding was a possibility.
Those accidents reported over that period, I may say that it is not, it was not caused as a result of persons who were inexperienced in any way, or young drivers. The age range for the drivers, for all of the accidents we have seen, it ranged from being a new driver or young driver all the way up to very experienced drivers.
Connaught says they are gravely concerned with the trends in terms of accidents.
We have seen accidents that can be easily avoided, but because of what I will say is the attitude of drivers on the public roadway, the new approach by drivers, I don't think enough mitigation effort is being made or any deliberate effort is being made by persons using the public roadway to avoid these accidents.
Another concern he notes is drivers attempting to flee the scene of an accident. An example of such occurred over the weekend within the Tempe area.
The vehicle causing the accident sped off, and the driver of that other vehicle crashed into a sidewall, and he is now warded at the General Hospital. Had he remained on the scene, all this could have been avoided. And what was most interesting is that at the scene, the responding officer was able to detect alcohol in his breath. Breathalyzer test was done, and he far exceeded the legal limit.
The head of the traffic department says they are again making the call for motorists to be more prudent in the consumption of alcohol while driving. I am Gerard Joseph, reporting for GBN News.
A mother is assisting the Royal Grenada Police Force in their investigations after being suspected of attempting to drown her 2 children on Monday morning. Rena Pear-Thomas tells us more.
Video provided to the GBN newsroom shows fishermen escorting a woman from the waters in the area known as Silk Cotton, St. George's, after she reportedly attempted to drown 2 of her children. At around mid-morning, members of the Royal Grenada Police Force, including the Coast Guard, were called to the area known as Silk Cotton, which is in the vicinity of the Cape Tilef roundabout in St. George, after reports that the mother had allegedly drowned one child and was in the process of holding the other underwater. However, when GBN News arrived on the scene, an officer told the newsroom that the 2 children, ages 8 and 13, escaped what could have been a horrific situation and are currently with family members. The mother, in the meantime, was handed over to officers of the Grenada Coast Guard and will undergo psychiatric evaluation at the Mount Gay Mental Hospital. An older daughter of the woman says her mother has a history of mental illness.
She had someone who said that died and buried on Thursday, and right after that, that's when she did say that she was going down. Since Friday and Saturday she was just lying on the floor. She was saying she was in the room, she just lying on it. Yesterday they said that she was good. They said that she got up, she talked, but she never had an occurrence like that before. When she killed somebody, when they are in college, she killed somebody, no, but exactly. Always that time, she always wants to go on the beach. She always wants to take them on the beach.
ASP Desmond Richard was also on the scene.
A report that mother has reported that she went into the water with 2 children and 1 came out. However, we will learn that the children are safe, and the young lady is now taken to the hospital for evaluation.
Up to news time, no charges were laid on the mother, while the children remained in the custody of family members. For GBN News, I am Rena Pear-Thomas reporting.
Have you ever wondered how nurses and doctors cope when they are required to respond to traumatic cases such as Sunday's chopping at Richmond Hill? Well, GBN's Krista Campbell has been researching this subject and sends us her findings.
Plastered all over social media are videos highlighting the gruesome nature of Sunday's attack at Richmond Hill. While many imbibed the fodder, some minds might have gone to the emergency responder whose job it was to retrieve the severely chopped man from the crime scene and coordinate his transfer to the waiting ambulance. One woman was heard crying out to God as she saw how severely chopped the victim was.
Stop! Stop!
One could not help but wonder how healthcare providers cope when they are confronted with such dark situations. To help us understand this better, we reached out to Dr. Wesley Daniel, a Grenadian theologian who serves with the Methodist Church in New York.
Trauma is a very it can range from anything from a stressful day to a brutal murder or a brutal incident. And we have to recognize that everybody is affected in one way or another. Not everybody is affected the same way. And therefore, we have different coping mechanisms. Some people have better than others. Some people have, in some cases, better community support so that they can cope with that.
The nursing profession is not an easy one and by no means stress-free. Dr. Daniel says it must not be forgotten that nurses are people too.
In most cases, I would say in all cases, the people themselves, the responders, are doing the best they can with the resources available to them. And so it takes a while for us to begin to put the two together and realize that these people are acting within their capacity most of the times, if not all of the times. And we want to see something else happening, so we blame them. But they have also to deal with the stress of the event, but also the effect that it is having on them in the moment, and also the effect it will have on them later on.
A blog posted by Nightingale College notes that nurses are often left feeling the pain long after dealing with traumatic effects or the death of patients whom they treated over a period of time. It highlights several coping mechanisms, including talking about difficult days with trusted individuals and setting aside time for physical exercise. The Nightingale CEO, Mikhail Schneider, who was once a nurse himself, said the profession is built on, quote, unwavering dedication, personal sacrifice, and all-encompassing empathy, unquote. However, he cautions that sometimes empathy may get to be too much for nurses. Krista Campbell, GBN News.
Interesting. On Friday, we aired a news story regarding a court judgment in the case related to the death of Miss Linia Venot. She was a professor at the St. George's University who was struck by a vehicle being driven by Akim Frank. The vehicle was owned by Mr. Royston de Freitas. In Friday's news item, the story mentioned Daniela Williams in the capacity as executrix of the estate of Royston de Freitas. Some were of the opinion that the judgment was against Mrs. Williams Mitchell. GBN wishes to make it clear that this interpretation is in fact wrong and not intended. For the avoidance of doubt, the judgment is against Akim Frank. We wish to clarify further that the judgment was an assessment of damages on an earlier default judgment entered against Akim Frank only. And now we turn our attention to what has been creating a buzz on social media. Trelana Charles has been looking around the platforms.
This is Social Buzz, where we shine a light on the thoughts and concerns of our online audience. Friday's We Culture program looked at the emerging trend of weekend jab and its relevance in today's time. It asked the question, is this a new cultural norm?
Something happens and it continues happening, it starts spreading, and before you know it, but wait, that is your culture.
Every so-called cultural art form that was developed out of protest, out of the slum, out of the ghetto. No major cultural art form was developed by the bureaucracy, by the administration, by any organization. It came from the gutter.
Our online audience joined the conversation. Jose commented the weekend jab is a form of defiance against the government because the people have been through a lot with the COVID and seeing that the government has been hard on Grenadians, plus the vaccine issues, people feel they have been locked down and not getting an ease from the powers that be. Rachel commented, I agree with Doc. When people play jab anytime and anywhere, it really loses its true meaning. She then asked, so we should allow weekend fancy mass and traditional mass and all other aspects of carnival? Ronnie wrote, the beat of the drum will always move the people, whether it be the weekend, funeral, wedding, or carnival. Anthony added, jab is a spirit and you cannot kill a spirit easily. When you try to crush it, whether it be the weekend or not, you are helping it to flourish. Gary found that out. My 2 cents. And Media commented, I tuned in late tonight, but in time to hear Doc explain the history behind JAB. I think many times people tend to dislike things because they do not understand the history behind it. I had no idea that JAB originated from our people rebelling against Europeans and a way to take back their identity. That knowledge makes me look at them differently. Sounds to me that JAB was created as a form of protesting. Could it be that the weekend JAB is a form of protest against all that is going on? Could a solution to this protest simply be a peaceful protest where the JAB follows certain rules, such as time restrictions and with a police presence? That's it for tonight's Social Buzz. If you would like to have your thoughts and concerns shared, be sure to comment on GBN's Facebook page.
Proves that education on culture is so important. Big up to We Culture there. Now we move from the thought process to the visual impact. It's time to take a peek through the GBN ISAW lens.
Rolling into tonight's ISAW are some rocks which have fallen from Grenada Road in St. George near police headquarters into the yard of the Ministry of Finance on the Carnage. No damages were reported from the incident, though the area is known to serve as a parking space for some. Send us your photo and video submissions via WhatsApp on 405-3052 or our other social media platforms.
It's a program to replace the negatives with positives and encourage delinquent youth to make life-changing movements in their lives. We hear more from Rena Pear-Thomas on the first batch of youngsters to graduate from the project Stop and Think in Mount Horn, St. Andrew.
Rebranding the community of Mount Horn St. Andrew from the negative stigma attached to it is the intent behind Project Stop and Think. 43 young people have been part of a 3-month program which aims to educate and steer troubled youth towards making positive changes in their lives. The program climaxed on Sunday with a graduation and certificate presentation ceremony at the Mount Horn playing field. Minister for Social Development, Housing and Community and MP for the area, Delma Thomas, explains that some young people only need someone to guide them.
But brothers and sisters, I would not stand here and say that there are not some issues. As every other community, there are some issues that we are trying to. While you may want to identify some of our young people and say that they are negative and all those issues, there are some issues that confront them. And so sometimes they need a role model. What they need is love, care from somebody who can say to them that we love you and we are willing to go with you. And so, Dr. Chaitan, I want to thank you. But I want to say that this should not be the end.
Leading the charge with Project Stop and Think is Dr. Nilis Chaitan and his wife Patsy Chaitan. Dr. Chaitan highlighted some of the key aspects of the project.
Of a brand, the pain, hurt, and trauma of people's negative perception of you. Station number 2, believe in the lie, accepting the lies and becoming them. And we talked about it, eh? We even broke down psychological terms for you. So easy. And the self-fulfilling prophecy. They say it about you and you act the part. Session number 3, respect the missing factor. Session number 4, stop and think about it or you'll pay for it. Session number 5, deterrence of stopping and thinking. Situations that would tempt you not to stop and think. Session number 6, the 5 R's to human change.
A billboard was erected at the entrance into the community bearing the names of people from Mount Horn who have excelled in many careers, as well as the first 43 graduates of Project Stop and Think. Kanisha Alexander, one of the participants of the project, says this program changed her life.
Well, from today, a shining matter, me pass. I'm not going back today. I'm not going back. Yeah, I'm here to surprise people, move mountain. And we here like a team. I want to thank Mr. Neil Chaitan very much. I waste too much of life. Doing wrong things, careless things, being to prison. And I get tired, and I'm happy to be here. telling all, don't give up. Matter what they say, we don't turn back. Forward we going and it's forward.
For GBN News, I am Rena Pear Thomas reporting.
Positive indeed. Moving ahead, Grenada Distillers Limited has added 3 new products to their line of liquors and has once again captured gold in the World Spirits Competition. Rena Pear Thomas tells us more.
Coconut coffee and passion fruit cream liqueur are the newest addition to the Grenada Distillers liquor line. The launch of the new amazing cream liqueur was held last Friday at the company's headquarters. Grenada Distillers Limited produce a variety of white, dark, flavored, overproof and premium aged rums. They also produce a chocolate cream liqueur made from locally grown cocoa and an award-winning white rum. This year, Grenada Distillers will be celebrating 20 years of existence, during which they have created up to 24 different products. Kirk Sitterhall, General Manager of the Grenada Distillers Limited, tells us about the new line.
It gives me great pleasure to share with you that Grenada Distillers Limited, producers of Clark's Court Rum, has been announced Distillery of the Year Gold on the world stage yet again, winning numerous awards at the 2021 World Spirits Competition. Management of our food safety has and continues to be highest priority during our growth as a company. We have been ISO certified since 2017, and I'm happy to announce today that this week we received confirmation of our recertification for the next 2 years.
The General Manager outlined other achievements made by the company this year.
Success at the World Spirits Award is another feather in the cap for Grenada Distillers Limited, as we introduce 3 new products to the world market today, July 16, 2021. Today, you have been invited to participate and sample our coconut cream liqueur, our passion fruit cream liqueur, and our new coffee liqueur. At Grenada Distillers Limited, our team, headed by Chairman Mr. Leroy Nichols, is determined to maintain high standards. These include the continual expansion of our product range with white, dark, matured, flavored rums and liqueurs, complemented with local spices and fruits.
Minister for Trade Alvin Dabrio, who was also at the launch, says that his ministry welcomed the new product, both in the regional and international market.
I'm very happy to be here today and to be a part of it and to witness this innovation that's going on. And Mr. Nichols said there is more in the making. So I want to wish that, encourage you to keep the amazing line going well. We know that our products would be displayed in Dubai this year, and I hope that you all are on board with it, because it would be a very good market to enter, because although it's Muslim areas, they do consume quite a bit.
For GBN News, I am Rena Pear Thomas reporting.
Are you looking for quality herbs and herbal supplements, or are you thinking about having a complete body cleanse to jumpstart your health? Then no need to look further. Visit Nirvana Natural Health Clinic, Detox Center, and Natural Health Store. We carry a wide range of herbal products for kidney and gallstone cleansing, male sexual enhancement formulas, asthma and sinusitis, gas and bloating, acid reflux, constipation, arthritis, imbalanced hormones, female health issues, liver cleansing, weight loss, and so much more. Also available, colonic irrigation, holistic health consultations, essential oils, and diffusers. Look out for our online natural health store coming soon. Call 231-6642 418-7115 or 449-7753 to find out about our delivery options or to book an appointment. Visit us at Belmont St. George's, close to the Foliage, Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Nirvana Natural Health Clinic. Detox your way to health.
Once upon a time, we shopped at Wonderland, then Neverland. But we're all grown up now and no longer believe in fairy tales. So now we just shop at Shoes R Us. At Shoes R Us, we stock the latest in shoes, tops, and jeans for the fashion-conscious lady. We also carry colognes and much, much more. And for the modern trendy male, we have the latest brand name shoes and sneakers, Converse, Reebok, Nike, K-Swiss, Puma, and much more. So check us out at our 2 convenient locations. Melville Street in St. George, and Ben Jones Street in Granville. At Shoes R Us, we say, come shop with us.
Imagine having the home of your dreams. Imagine investing in that piece of property you can call your own. Imagine finally doing that home improvement project you've always been thinking about. It's time to stop imagining and start doing. Let the GUT Credit Union help you take the first step with fantastic rates, affordable repayments, and reduced legal fees. Make the move. Get better terms on your mortgage. Use your home equity to make those dreams a reality. Act now. There's really no place like home. GUT Credit Union. It's where you belong.
Welcome back to Good Morning Grenada. It is now 18 minutes after 7 o'clock. Those of you who are just joining us, happy to have you. Those of you who stuck with us, thank you for your patience. Let's get into this morning's discussion. Joining me virtually is the Alternative Care Supervisor at the Child Protection Authority, Ms. Chanelle Phillip. Chanelle Phillip, and she's here to tell us about the foster care program of the Child Protection Authority. Good morning, Ms. Phillip, and thank you for joining us. Happy to have you.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Appreciate it this morning. Every time somebody comes on early in the morning, it's an extra appreciation, because I know this kind of time is touchy time for a lot of people, so appreciate it. So this morning, Ms. Phillip, we're going to talk about the foster care program of the Child Protection Authority. First, just give us some basic information about the program and how it has been going along over the years of its existence.
So, for those of you listeners who don't know, the Child Protection Authority is mandated by the Child Protection and Adoption Act to safeguard and protect all children at risk of or suffering from abuse. So under that mandate, part of our work is having investigations into family life, and if absolutely necessary, the children are removed from their family homes for their safety and protection. When that happens, we need foster carers to help look after those children while they cannot be with their birth family. So we are currently having a 12-month foster care recruitment drive where we're hoping to recruit foster carers to help us with the task of caring for these children. So we have, currently we have about 200 children in state care, and we have about 64 foster carers, with half of those being kinship carers, which means that they only care for their family. So that leaves my number of foster carers just to foster any child who comes into the system at a very low, approximately 30. So we're in desperate need of carers to assist us with the children who are coming into the system. We truly believe that any child that has to be, and when I say has to, I mean as a very last resort, removed from their family home, don't have any kinship care available to them, then we would like for them to be placed in a family home with a family rather than being placed in residential care. So we have several types of foster care and carers that we're looking for currently. We are looking for emergency carers, which means that carer who's willing to, no matter what time of the day or night, just accept the child. No planning, no matching, just I have this child here, they need somewhere to stay tonight, can you take them in? And those emergency carers will say yes to any child, any time, any age, any day. We then need short-term carers. So once we've decided that that child does need to stay in the system longer than emergency, which is about a week, we need a carer who will accommodate that child in their home until we can make a long-term plan for the child. That plan may be to return them to their parents once the issue that caused them to be removed has been resolved, or if longer-term care is necessary, i.e. long-term fostering or adoption. Then we move on to long-term caring, which could last for short-term, could be anything from 3 months to 6 months to 9 months, just depending on where we are in our reunification process. A long-term carer can have a child in their care up until they're 18. It could be 2, 3, 4, 5, until they age out of the system. At 18, when a child is no longer legally, CPA no longer has a responsibility for them, they're not always ready to go out into the world by themselves. Not all of us at 18 leave our parents' house and can thrive, and that's without having had traumas and been removed from your family and lived with different people. So you could imagine for those who have been through the system at 18, it's not time just to say, okay, I'm 18, I could go and make it. So we're looking for respite carers, stay and put carers who will accommodate those over 18 care leavers as more like a lodger than a child to look after, just to help them while they finish their education maybe, are employed and are saving up for independence. So that helping hand until they're ready to move on. The last type of carer is a respite carer, and the respite carer will look after children who are already in a foster placement. So let's say Miss Anne has 2 children fostering. She has to travel. She cannot take the children with her. So Miss Sam will take them for the 2 weeks to enable Miss Anne to do what she needs to do that she cannot do with the children. Also, just to give the carers a break, foster caring, parenting in a whole is a very taxing job. And then foster caring is that times 10 because of the background the children come from, the behaviours they may display. So it's a taxing job. So having a break is really important. So respite carers would help provide for that break for those children while carers are having a well-deserved break. So in a nutshell, that is the foster care programme.
What are the requirements or the criteria for a family and or maybe a single parent home can qualify to become a foster parent?
Right, so in the initial stage, the only requirement is that you're aged between 21 and 70. Anything after that is an individual assessment basis. So you can be married, you can be single, you can be renting, you can own your home, you can live with your family, i.e. your parents, all your individual circumstances will be assessed individually. So once you've filled out an application form, you'll be then contacted by a child protection officer who will come and meet with you and see your home, see the space that it is you say you have to offer to give the child. And we'll do an in-depth assessment with you, talking about your childhood, your past relationships, your views on religion, your views on punishing a child, on corporal punishment as it's known, just your views on homosexuality, just to get a holistic view of who you are as an individual. And so that if your assessment is approved, we can then match you accordingly to a child, hoping that it will be a good fit and that the placement will have longevity. The assessment process is completed and we will be required to have a police check. Now, the police check is something we will do. We just need your permission to do it. We'll get the police check in. Once you've had a police check that doesn't say anything alarming on it, your home assessment has been completed. We've done our reference check, so we will speak to 2 references that you provide, and we will also do a little community check. We always give the best person as a reference. So I'm going to talk to the neighbours, the shopkeepers, the people around your community who know you through seeing your movements, and just to get a real good view of who you are. It is an intrusive process, but it has to be, because I cannot take child A from an abusive home and say I'm taking him away for his safety and protection and then place him in another home where, because of a lack of due diligence, they're in the same or worse position. It makes no sense. So this is why the assessment process is as intrusive as it is. We then would like those carers who've been through that process to do an initial training. Once that initial training is complete, then we will look at matching and placing a child with them.
What has been the most challenging part about building what I call the foster care database, or the foster carers database, in terms of increasing the 30/60 names that you currently have? What has been the most challenging part of that process?
2 things come to mind. One is that not as many people know about the foster care program as we would like them to. Hence why I'm having these discussions with media houses to let people know that there is foster care in Grenada and that there is a role for them to play. So sensitisation of the community to let them know that there is this program, because fostering is not foreign to Grenada. Private fostering happens all the time. From in the 1950s, when parents left to migrate to other countries, children were left behind with neighbours, cousins and aunties. That is all a type of fostering. So, and even now, you find in most communities, you find a child living with a family who's not mum and dad. but that's who Tanti, Nene, and whoever, you know. So it's just that. It is the very same principle. It's just a more organised, structured system via the CPA. Secondly is people are scared of welcoming a child into their house who may have suffered some kind of trauma base, who may display some kind of behaviours that they've never seen before, and they're worried about how will I cope? How will I fit this child into my life? How will I do a good job? How do I know if this is for me? So I think that education and information is the best thing I can give, the team can give to anyone thinking about becoming a foster carer or anyone who's intrigued, to help them understand what the task is, to help them understand the support systems around it. So every child in state care has an allocated social worker. Now that social worker is responsible for that child's entry into care, their education and health needs and contact needs with their family while they're in care, and then their transition out of care. So there's a social worker who does the care planning around the child to make sure that their time in care they achieve what is the goals that were set in the beginning. If that's for the child to have therapeutic intervention, if that's for the family to have therapeutic intervention. For some, it may be going for a court case. So the child social worker walks the child through that process. We now have a supervising social worker who is allocated just to the foster carer. So while the social worker will visit the child once a month to make sure the child's needs are being met, the supervising social worker will meet with the foster carer separately to understand how they're dealing with the fostering task, what their needs are, what CPA can do to assist them in the task of caring. And in those sessions, we'll identify training needs, and then we endeavour to, going forward, put on regular training sessions for our carers to address those common issues that occur within foster care homes, to assist them with the coping skills and the tools to do the task effectively.
You made a comment that not many people are aware of the foster care program, or that we have that program available in Grenada. How can you spread the news more? And in addition to the foster care program, adoption as well. A lot of people are not aware that there is a possibility of adopting children in Grenada.
So what we're doing, and we started in June and we'll be going until the end of the year, is we're doing pop-up booths around the island. We've already been at Foodland on the Green Road. We've been at Bystand Mall. We've been to Esplanade Mall. And last week, Friday, we was in Sutton. Friday the 30th, we will be doing a pop-up booth in Grenville Bus Terminus. We will be in Guave. We will be in Victoria. We'll be doing community events in September and October in St David. So we're trying to cover all the parishes, and we're out there in person, just talking to people, handing out information leaflets, and just making the community aware. I'll be on as many TV and radio shows, my team and I, as we can, so that we can reach those through media and those in person at our pop-up booths. At those booths, we won't only be talking about foster care, while that is the main focus, but we will have information on adoption and child protection as a whole, what child protection is, what we do, what mandates us to do what we do, and then the adoption process. So yes, you can adopt a child in Grenada. And as I said earlier, the children who come into the state care and their parents or their circumstance that led them to be removed cannot be rectified in their best interest, and they cannot return to their birth parents or to kin. We then look at adoption for them. So you can apply to become a foster carer, an adopter, in very much the same way. There's an application form. There is a home assessment, home study process. Medical background checks, it is more in depth than the foster care assessment, but it's very similar. And once approved, again, the matching process is put forward, and then once all goes well and the child is legally cleared for adoption and a judge gives a sign of approval, then the child is legally yours. So that is something that we facilitate in the same team, alternative care team, at the Child Protection Authority. So anyone who's interested, you can contact us in that regard also.
What about the age groups? What age range is most prevalent of children are in need of, whether it be foster care or adoption?
So we have children from 0 newborns from the hospital up until 18. However, their age range that currently we need placement for more than other is teenage girls 12 to 16. I think because we have the children's homes that children can be placed at, which is Queen Elizabeth, John P. Hopkins, Barbara Mallaghan and Smiles, the younger age range, if we cannot find a foster carer, there's generally a place in one of the children's homes. But the teenage girls, they're coming in more and more, and they are harder to place with foster carers, just due to the challenging behaviours that they can display. We all know teenagers in general are going through that time where they are naturally curious and naturally a little rebellious, and then you have to add to that the trauma of being removed from their families and whatever caused that. So the teenage girls, in dealing with those emotions, dealing with their hormones and just everything else that comes with being a teenage girl, makes them our highest intake at the moment and the most need for placement for. So I will say, anyone who says, I want to foster, yes, while fostering a baby is great, we need people who are ready to foster or willing to be trained and supported to care for those teenagers too.
Is there a program, or what role can the CPA play in terms of working along with these troubled, especially the teenagers, since that's the hardest group of children to place, working along with them and helping them, for lack of a better phrase, better their behavior, that they be able to be placed with families willing to take them?
So what I would like to see is that the children in residential care who have already been receiving therapeutic intervention and have started to deal with their trauma bases just through being in a more structured environment, I would like to see those children moved on to foster care. And then those come into the residential setting where, as I said, it's a more controlled environment with a lot of structure around therapeutic intervention. Not that those in foster care won't get therapeutic intervention, but I believe those who come with those challenging behaviours, a residential home where there's more staff and more people to assist them with that transition in their behaviours and to help them modify those behaviours would be a better place to start in the care system. And then once those behaviours are understood, because for these children, a lot of them don't even understand why they're acting out. They just know they're angry, they're hurt, they're upset, and those emotions lead to those behaviours. So helping them to understand the cause of their behaviours and coping skills, I think, is better placed in residential care. And then they could move on to foster care once they become what I call fosterable. So those negative behaviours are under control, or they're working on them so that a foster carer is able better to cope. One-on-one all day with a moody teenager is quite difficult. Whereas in a home when the staff are changing shifts and there's different people to talk to, it's more manageable. So I think through we have what we call our PAC team, which is a team of counsellors and psychologists, I believe, and they work alongside with all of our children in state care, providing therapeutic services to them and making referrals to affiliated agencies if the need be. So we do our internal therapeutic interventions. We would refer parents to Ministry of Social Development and Legal Aid and Care Council for individual counselling for themselves, and so that we can help the family as a whole to achieve those goal sets of, this is what happened, this is what we need to do so we can get back to normal family life. And we work with them through different programs to achieve those goals and hope for reunification for those children.
The children in state-owned homes like the Queen Elizabeth, to be honest, you mentioned one this morning that I'm just hearing about. Smiles.
The Smiles has only been open for a couple of months now, maybe a little bit more, and that is a home for teenage girls. The Child Protection Authority, realising the big gap that there is in terms of finding placements for them and the need for what I talked about, that therapeutic environment in a more controlled environment, was opened. Smiles is for teenage girls 12 to 18. It's quite a new home, so its capacity is being limited for the time. and we hope to take more girls there as the home becomes more established.
How many children do we have in state-run homes?
Approximately, I would say 200, but a few were reunified last month. So we've got about 194 currently. And they are spread amongst the children's homes, kinship care and foster care.
Is there a possibility of somebody identifying a child that they would like to adopt instead of the CPA saying, okay, we match you with child B? Is there a possibility of maybe I happen to be visiting one of these homes one day and I see a child that I feel would be well placed in my home? Can that happen?
I strongly advise against that because not all children in the homes are free for adoption. They could be in the home because parents are going through a domestic violence program or an alcohol program, and once the treatment goals are met, the child will be reunified with their parent. So not every child in state care is free for adoption. We only seek orders to free children for adoption for those who there is no chance at all of them going home. No families come forward. So yes, we do have adopters who come to us and say, look, I want to adopt this child, but those children are tending to not be in the care system. They already have the child in their care through private fostering, or it's a family member who they're saying, I know my cousin's really struggling, I want to adopt her daughter. Yes, those children you can identify. But in state care, we will have a list of children who are free for adoption. And so choosing is not going to happen in that way.
Okay. There's somebody on the WhatsApp that's asking, do we still have mothers leaving their babies at the General Hospital?
Yes, unfortunately, it does happen. It does happen. And sometimes and those mothers are the mothers with mental health problems, addiction problems, who tend to get up and leave the baby to either go and purchase their substance of choice, or those with mental health who are in crisis. We tend not to have mothers who are fit and healthy and well just leaving their babies. Those mothers tend to engage with us throughout their pregnancy, while they're in hospital, so there's a planned way of the baby being taken into state care and taken for adoption.
And do we have, speaking of that, do we have I don't want to say a lot, but do we have, a lot of mothers actually saying, I can't care for this baby, let me go to Child Protection Authority to see how best we can find placement for him or her? Is it a regular occurrence for mothers to take that route?
It's not as regular. It is not the most common way that we get children into care. It does happen occasionally. Mothers with newborn who make that decision tend to come in while they're pregnant or early in their pregnancies because they've made an informed choice and want to understand their options. We get a lot of mothers and fathers and grannies and, all caregivers coming in with their children who are giving trouble. They won't go to school as they're supposed to, they're rude, they wouldn't go and do their chores. And we get people coming in with them saying, I can't cope with this child, they're not listening. And it's not because they want to give them away, they just want help. And a lot of the time with that intervention from us, they can learn the coping skills or learn new ways of dealing with the challenge they're facing with that child and move on together as a family. Very rarely does a parent come in with a child stating that I can't cope because of the child's behaviour, that child will end up in care.
What happens in the case of a foster carer or a potential adoptive parent if the CPA finds out that that home is not safe for that child that they've placed with that family?
The same that would happen if the child was at home. Any child that's at risk of abuse or is suffering abuse, we follow the same procedure regardless if they're with their birth families, regardless if they're with a foster placement, regardless if they're with an adoption placement. We will do our investigation. We will remove the child in their best interest. If there's a criminal matter to be answered to, we will make the report to the police and follow procedure as normal.
All right, it's time for us to wind down, but there's a question on the Facebook. Somebody on Facebook is inquiring. In the U.S., there are lots of children who end up in foster homes and have been abused, sometimes sexually, and that will damage the child for the rest of their life. Let me go down to the question. One of the questions is, what type of evaluation is done on the children before sending them to a stranger or to a foster carer?
So because of the nature of our work, if a child comes in as an emergency placement, it is a medical that will be done initially, just to make sure that the child is fit and well, or if there has been any allegations of abuse, so that can be medically checked and documented. So we know how we receive the child and we can then plan for their intervention. If they're placed as an emergency, we wouldn't have time to do a mental health evaluation or something like that. But while they're in state care, they will be referred to our counselling unit, and they will be assessed by them in terms of establishing what their therapeutic needs are, if any, and if there's a treatment plan that needs to be put in place for the child as an individual. Again, when they're placed at the children's homes or foster care, that is our process. If it's a planned placement, that means the child is already somewhere and we plan to place them somewhere, then we have more time to do those kind of evaluations before the placement is made. And this is why I talked about earlier about our matching process. When we're approving carers, we look at them, what is their, I call it their speciality. Some people are amazing with teenagers. Some people say, not me and them. Some people are really great with babies. Some do better with 7, 8-year-olds. Some do better with boys. Some do better with girls. So our assessment process is where we determine what age child, what sex, what behaviour patterns would be best suited with this carer. So in that matching process, it means that we're not going to have the child distress or the carer distress when the child, I don't know, let's say wets the bed, because the carer is equipped and ready and able to deal with that calmly and reassure the child and be nurturing about it. I know there's going to be a carer who just can't do bedwetters. It's just too much for them. So you have to really do a really good matching process. So hopefully that will ease the child into a placement that is prepared and equipped for them to help them deal with the transition into care, to help them understand what's happened to them, what's happening to them, and have someone nurturing and loving who is going to be fair but firm, as I like to say, with that child through that process.
The other two questions we've dealt with earlier in the interview are counseling for the children and the procedures to become an adoptive parent. So just as we wrap up, Ms. Phillip, just remind us of the procedures, especially as you try to boost the number of foster carers that the Child Protection Authority currently has.
So you can contact us in our office. We have recently relocated to H.A. Blake Street, opposite Legal Affairs in the New Bailey's building. You can pop in and you can speak to myself or any one of my team. You need to fill out the application form, a home assessment and a police check will be completed, and a community check. You'd need to participate in our initial training, before you'll be matched with a child for placement. Foster caring is a voluntary service. It's not a paid position, so you have to have space in your home and in your heart to accommodate that child. A small stipend is given to foster carers to offset the cost of having the child in their home, but it's not a salaried position. It is voluntary, and I think that's really important for people to understand that it's not a job. It is giving back to the community, giving back to those children, and helping make sure that the children who pass through state care can be happy, healthy adults, because that is where you get your foundation into your childhood. So it's just giving back and making sure that the next generation have received as good as parenting as they can.
Appreciate it so very much. Thank you very much, Ms. Phillip, for sharing the information with us. Hopefully there's someone out there that, is willing to be a foster carer, or you're thinking about adoption as well. That is also a possibility. Contact the Child Protection Authority. Remind me of the number for CPA again.
435-0293.
0293. Okay. So hopefully somebody
We're
can.
also on Facebook, Twitter, as Child Protection Authority as well. So you can reach out to us on Facebook as well.
Lovely. I appreciate it, Ms. Phillip. Thank you very much. And hopefully this conversation can help boost the list or the number of foster carers the CPA has.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. The Alternative Care Supervisor at the Child Protection Authority, Ms. Chanelle. Phillip, we thank her so very much. If you're out there and you have the capacity at home, whether you are retired or even if you're working, if you have space to accommodate a child, whether it be temporary, whether it be long-term, short-term, trust me, it is a fulfilling opportunity for you, providing that nurturing environment for a baby, a child, a teenager, and almost adult. Whatever way you can assist, please feel free to do so. Contact the Child Protection Authority, whether it's for foster care. They also have adoption available. Just recently, I realized there are a few people that are not aware that there is the adoption program available at the Child Protection Authority. That's for, just reach out a hand, even if it's for one night, 3 months, 3 years maybe. You just might fall in love and adopt. You never know. Contact the Child Protection Authority. I'm an advocate for the CPA because I am currently in the process of full stop. Yeah. So feel free to contact the Child Protection Authority and reach out a hand. Let us take a very quick break and then we're going to come back and wrap up the televised portion of Good Morning Grenada. We will be right back.
There's a better way to beat the heat. Get an air conditioning unit at Courts, starting at $1,199. Get free installation on your purchase. Plus, with Ready Finance, you can shop now and pay nothing for 60 days. Courts, bringing value home. Conditions apply.
Introducing Color by Sissons. 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 Color by Sissons.
Get Rubigas. Get cooking. Rubigas, clean, safe, and reliable LPG is the perfect solution for your commercial and everyday needs. For cooking at home or barbecuing, choose Rubigas LPG cylinders. Available in a variety of sizes from 20 to 100 pound cylinders. Rubigas LPG, clean, safe, reliable. Are you cooking with Rubigas?
Get Rubis, get going. Hubbard's big promotion is back. Live free for 1 year. Spend $50 or more in any Hubbard's department and receive a chance to win big prizes every month. Property or vehicle insurance for 1 year. Free internet, cable, and data for 1 year. Free fuel for 1 year. Free cooking gas for 1 year. Free electricity for 1 year. Free drinks for 1 year. Extra cash account and the big free groceries for 1 year. Promotion runs from April 1st to September 30th, 2021. Live free for 1 year with Hubbard's in association with Solgas, Flow, Grenadian General Insurance, Carib Brewery, Coca-Cola, Grenada Bottling Company, Grenlec, Communal Cooperative Credit Union, Dutch Lady Milk, Promo, Danny, and Supreme. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to Good Morning Grenada. Let's wrap up the televised portion of the program just to share some information that post-cabinet briefing takes place at 10 a.m. this morning. It will be facilitated by Minister of Health, the Honorable Nicholas Steele, and Minister of Infrastructure, Senator Nolan Cox. The proceedings or the briefing will be carried on GIS, and I believe, I have to double check. Let me not say GBN. Next thing, it's not on GBN. But I know a lot of people are always interested when, especially the Minister of Health is speaking. So post-cab starts at 10 this morning, facilitated by Ministers Steele and Cox. And there was something else I saw for residents in Sister Isle of Carriacou. On the Sister Isle of Carriacou, the School Uniform Assistance Program registration continues on the Sister Islands. I know last week, Friday, they were in Petit Martinique and they're on Carriacou yesterday and today. It takes place 9 to 3 p.m. at the Parliamentary Constituency Office in Hillsborough. That's registration for the School Uniform Assistance Program. Petit Martinique last Friday. Hopefully all the residents who need assistance on the Sister Isle of Petit Martinique were able to get there. For those of you in Carriacou, if you didn't make it yesterday, you can go on down today at the Parliamentary Constituency Office, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. to register for the School Uniform Assistance Program. And there was something else, a piece of information I saw, but I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. So it is at this point, I'm going to bid all of you a farewell. If I remember, I'll tell the radio listeners. Enjoy the rest of your tremendously terrific Tuesday. Continue to be safe. Observe the COVID-19 protocols, please, and thank you. Your masks, hand sanitizers, your 6 feet distance. I find people starting to jam me up in the supermarket again. Me and somebody go take knock. Give them a breeze, give them a 6 feet, please, and tax. Have yourselves a blessed Tuesday, everybody. Bye-bye.